Hello and happy, little bit past the middle of the week, to another big word whenever. BWW. It's me again on the porch, and the word today is Gestalt. Gestalt, one of my favorite permanently borrowed, annoying German words from the 20th century mind. The same people who gave us the Third Reich, but they also gave us psych words like Gestalt, which is loosely, I'm not reading the definition to you, but loosely defined as a whole which is somehow greater than the sum of its parts. So it would be like if you had a team of people or some sort of unified body, which when you added up each individual part and you weighed its mass, or you evaluated its cost or its value, and then you looked at the organized whole, and the organized whole was worth a higher number or a higher value or a greater mass than the sum of the parts individually. Seems like a pretty straightforward concept. Now, it's the first full day today of the Major League Baseball playoffs. And if you're not a big baseball fan, there's 9 men on a team in baseball. 1 is the pitcher and 8 position players, and 1 batter tries to hit a ball between certain parameters known as foul lines, on the ground or in the air, but in such a way that they can get around the bases before someone tags them out or gets 3 strikes by them while they're at the plate before they hit anything. And that's the world's worst breakdown of an otherwise beautiful pastoral game. And as a lifelong Dodger fan, I can tell you I know a thing or two about Gestalt. The 1981 and 1988 Dodgers, especially the 1988 Dodgers, the last Dodger team. See what I mean about cars? The only time they rev their engines is when the sum of their individual parts of the cars that go by are exceeded by the assholishness of the wholeness of the person driving the car, whose very tiny genitalia must apparently be overcome with the appearance of the gestalted, magnified hugeness of what they in fact don't possess in smaller parts. I did that on the fly, by the way. I made it about genitalia. Genitalia really does seem like it means something else. Don't you agree? You know, like, doctor, would you pass the genitalia? Forceps? More genitalia, please. Suction, genitalia, you know. You'd think. Where was I? Oh, yes, Gestalt. But Gestalt being this word, this psych word, this philosophical word, a word which my friend Joe Razzo, if you're watching, I bet you Joe would describe it and explain it far better than I ever could. For Joe is an intellectual and a man whose intellect is an admirable and developed entity of its own. Indeed, Joe's intellectual gestalt is established more than just the sum of his biological parts. He is a great intellect. But making this about the Dodgers is very simple. In 81 and definitively in 1988, the individual parts of the Dodgers added up to what were 2, decent teams, good teams, but which were in fact absolutely not greater than the sums of the parts of the teams that they played in the World Series that year, or at least to get to the World Series. The 81 Dodgers, their gestalt was, they were greater than the Yankees were that year. They were arguably not better than the Expos. That was the strike-shortened season, and the Expos had a good second half. The Dodgers had a good first half, but the team that won the most games in 1981, if you looked at both halves of the season, was the Cincinnati Reds, but they didn't win either half of the season, so they didn't go to the World Series that year. Kind of a rip-off. But this is me not giving a damn about Cincinnati, so whatever. But as I try to fit this word, and it's been rolling around in my head for the last couple of days as I was trying to teach it to my students, and as I thought, this Dodger team, if you add up the sum of their parts, with all their numbers and their stats and everything, this year's team, you'd think, well, God, if their Gestalt is established and they're greater than the sum of their parts, they're going to roll over the Astros and the Nationals. But here's the thing, baseball's a team game. And right now, the best team in baseball is the Houston Astros. Now, their Gestalt is such that they have one more win than the Dodgers in the regular season, but that's not even what I'm talking about. They're better as a team than the Dodgers are, at least right now, unless something happens in the next couple of weeks that advances the Dodgers further into the playoffs, to the World Series, and over what probably is going to be the Houston Astros. So, anyway, only I could make Gestalt about genitalia and the Dodgers, but I did it. And that's my word for the day and the week. And whoever wants to sit through this 6 minutes is braver than I am, because I wouldn't have done it. Have a wonderful wherever you are, from the porch to yours.